To me, I want you to know what Rav Nachman said. You know what Moshe Rabbeinu is teaching us here? Moshe Rabbeinu says, you know what was the sin of the Meraglim, of the spies? The spies thought Israel is a land which is part of your finite needs. You left Egypt, there are 3 million people, they need a country, got to be in Israel, and they come and they look at their apartment houses, how much it is, if it's good, if it's a good neighborhood or bad. Israel is not part of our finite needs. This isn't where it's at. And I want you to know something even deeper. Do you know that God is part of my finite needs? I cannot live in this world without God, let's face it. I mean, if you really know what God is all about, how can you live without God? So it's beautiful. This is the most I need God, that's already finite. I need God every second, it's still finite. Now listen to the deepest depths. This Shabbos is the ultimate fixing of 2 things. It's the ultimate fixing of the sin of the spies who came back from Israel and they said, we don't like it. It's not for us, it's too heavy. And also the golden calf, because this Shabbos, Moshe Rabbeinu tells us, I went up to Mount Sinai and I brought you back the 2 tablets. What is the sin of both of them? And everybody knows that the spies were just a chain reaction of the golden calf. You know what it is? The golden calf is that God is part of my finite needs. I need a God. I mean, I live in this world, I don't know what to do. I know how to pray, I want to be holy, I want to be beautiful, I want this, I need God all the time. So I need a golden calf. I need a little God around. I believe in God because I need Him. Yeah, I need Him. It's deeper than that. It's deeper than that. Sure, I need a country. I need a house. I need everything. It's deeper than that. It's deeper than that. You know what it means? Ba'esahi mamish at that time Moshe Rabbeinu says, when I reach the highest level of my life, I'm 120 years old and I have about a few more minutes to go. Not a question of needing. It's mamish the deepest depths of me. The deepest depths of my soul pouring out before God. The deepest depths. I want you to know the deepest depths. You know, it's a very high level. If people love each other and they need each other, it's a very high level. That's all beautiful. But it has to be so much deeper than that. It has to be so much deeper than that. And I want to share something with you. You know, when people get married, Mazel Tov, all those people who have to get married should get married at the right moment. The beginning of the chuppah is that the groom covers the eyes of the bride. I want to say the deepest depth. You know, eyes have to do with prophecy. You know, when Moshe Rabbeinu walked up and saw the Holy Land, it was not on the level of prophecy. Deeper than that. You know, you can connect to another human being on the level of prophecy. I see prophetic that you are my soulmate. I see prophetically we are meant for each other. Beautiful. It's a high level. I want deeper than that. Alei Roisha Piska. I want to go up to the mountain and I want to see something else. I don't want prophecy. I want deeper than prophecy. I want it on the level of Ba'esahi Lema. And here, my sweetest friends, I want you to know. You know, that I have a need to be a good Jew, to be a holy Jew. I have a need to be a good father. I have a need to be a good human being. I have this great desire to be this, to be this. It's all very, very holy. But I can still make a golden calf and I can still be a spy. This Shabbos is that It's deeper than all this. It's not even infinite. It's deeper than that. It's deeper than that. You know, friends, why is it when people love each other very much, they whisper to each other? Crazy, it's not but in the house, you have to whisper. And I want you to know, friends, I'm sure you feel the same way. I'm sure you feel the same way. I travel over the world, you too. I walk in, I see married couples. You know how I know if they're close or not? I measure closeness, how loud they talk to each other. Simple as that. God bless you. God bless you. When I see a husband and wife talk loud to each other, shine, mazel tov. Doesn't turn me on. How can you talk loud to somebody you love? Okay, sometimes you have to. But it has to be so soft. You know, friends, when you ask somebody a favor, you can still even talk loud a little bit. When you just pour out your heart to each other, I'm not asking you anything, I'm just pouring out my heart. And I want you to you know what I mean, pouring out my heart? Pouring out my heart on that level which is beyond my needs. And it's the deepest need in my world, in the whole world. It's deeper than everything. And here I want to tell you over a Torah which is awesome from the Heilige Reb Shul Ostrova. I said enough, I bought the Sefer Toldos Odom and I forgot it somewhere today. Listen to the deepest depths. Moshe Rabbeinu says, Ebrono, please let me go over the Jordan. What happened then? Okay. So the Heilige Ostrova says, Rabbi Shul Ostrova says like this. Noah means Nun Sharabino and Aleph. Moshe Rabbeinu needed two things. Everybody knows that there are 50 gates of understanding. Moshe Rabbeinu was given 49 and the 50th is not given to anyone. You know what the 50th is? The moment you enter the 50th, then you know you haven't begun yet. You start all over again. It's always 49 and you enter the 50th, you start all over again. You know, friends, my sweetest friends, what does it mean you're really close to another human being? Mamish, suddenly you have the feeling we were never that close to each other before, right? First time in our lives. First time. Kvalis Tatim. Aleph Lushan Pele, right? I never thought I'd be that close to you. First time. Okay, let's really start from now on, right? If this is the first time, let's start. Can you imagine? Moshe Rabbeinu knew so much. Moshe Rabbeinu looked from one corner of the world to the other. Moshe Rabbeinu was the highest prophet. And he was begging God, please God, can we start all over again? I want you to know this is the deepest depth. This is what Reb Nachman says. What is the holiness of the Holy Land? The holiness of the Holy Land is that the Holy Land is always the beginning. Mom is the beginning. Why was the Holy Land given to our father Abraham? What's the beginning of us Yidden? What's the beginning? God says, say Avraham Avinu, keep Shabbos, eat kosher, and then after 100 years you serve God, He'll give you the Holy Land. No, it's the beginning. The first time God says to Avraham Avinu, He says to him, I give you the Holy Land. The Holy Land is the beginning of all beginnings. What happens when you come to the Holy Land, Mamish? Mamish, I didn't start serving God yet. I never davened. What's so special when you daven by the Holy Wall? It's clear to you, you never prayed yet. Mamish, clear to you. There's a story that one of the letters of Rab Nosson, everybody knows, Rab Nachman says the most important thing in serving God is you should always do everything for God the first time. Never do anything for the second time. So Rab Nosson writes, he says, I was there when Rab Nachman, my holy master, when he left this world. And he said, before he left this world, he said, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Shomer Echad, God is one. He says, I swear to you, he didn't have strength anymore. His body wasn't even moving anymore. He just mamish exerted himself. His lips were moving and he said, Hashem Echad, God is one. But he says, I swear to you, he said it like he's saying it for the first time in his life. He says, can you imagine leaving this world and saying God is one for the first time? You know what Moshe Rabbeinu is giving us over? Listen to this. And I'll make it very fast. You know what the sin of the golden calf is? I know something about God, right? I read a book on God. I read a book on basic Judaism. I know what God is all about. I need a God. And God is too far in heaven. It's too far to reach. There's no mail. I don't know his telephone number. For me, a golden calf is a pretty good thing. It's very comfortable. And everybody makes their own golden calves. Sadly not. Because I know something about God, and this God fits my description. Listen, I know something about living in a country, and I'm a nationalist, I know something, and here I'm coming to Israel, it fits my description or not. But imagine if I have no concept of God. Mamish, I don't know anything. For the first time I hear, Mamish, there's one God, and I blow my mind. What are you talking about, a golden calf? God? Gewalt. Someone tells you there is a holy land which God wants to give you. So don't tell me stories that looks like Paris. One street is like Paris, one like Amsterdam, one a little bit like Hawaii, and one part of Yerushalayim looks like San Francisco. Forget everything there is. The Holy Land is, I never seen anything my whole life. I never saw anything. It's the first thing in the world. And here I want to share something with you. Moshe Rabbeinu had clear prophecy from one corner to the other. Do you really think he never saw the Holy Land? He opens his eyes, he can see anything in the world. When Moshe Rabbeinu opened his eyes, he saw Mamish until Mashiach is coming, what's going to happen. Okay, the Sea of Lublin is not Moshe Rabbeinu. The Sea of Lublin was begging God, please limit my eyesight to 400 miles, I can't bear anymore. Limit my eyesight to 400 miles because I don't have koyach. I don't have koyach. Okay, the Sea of Lublin, right? Moshe Rabbeinu is sitting by the borders of Israel and he didn't see. But you know what Moshe Rabbeinu was asking God? Let me see the Holy Land for the first time. Never seen it before. Never seen anything like it. Never seen anything. And I want you to know that kind of prayer is Oitza Matnas Chinuch. That comes from such a high place in heaven. This is touching the highest place in heaven. It's that deep, right? You know, friends, if people can be that close to each other, that they look at each other for the first time, think that's loving, it's deeper than all that. It is deeper than all that. That comes from such a high place. This is beyond time and space. It's ba'esa hileima. It's more than infinite, it's more than finite, it's more than anything in the world. And here, my sweetest friends, if I see something for the first time, you know what I want to do? I want to see it again for the first time. And I want to see it again for the first time. And I want to share something awesome with you. You know why people die? Because they saw everything. It's beautiful, I love it. I don't mind looking at it again, but I saw it before. What's the first sign of an old person? They know everything, right? And sometimes there are people not even so old in years. They know everything. They know the answer to everything. They know everything. They saw everything. And here I want you to know the deepest depths. This Shabbos is a fixing of the tree of knowledge. What did the tree of knowledge do to us? Brought down death to the world. Tree of knowledge had, I know it. This is right, this is wrong, brought down the golden calf. I know all about God, and the golden calf is God. It's what the snake said. Eat the apple and you'll be God. It's a golden snake. It's a golden calf, right? What's the whole thing of the spies? It's tree of knowledge. They know how a land is supposed to look like. Israel is not a good land. They know geography and they know politics. It's no good. It's all tree of knowledge. Tree of knowledge is death. Forget it. This Shabbos is mamish tree of life. And now listen to this. Why do people hate each other? We learned it 1,000 times because I know you. I know what you did yesterday. I know what you did the day before. And you know the Holy Land cannot stand people who hate each other because the Holy Land is that I see you for the first time. The whole thing of the Holy Temple is that I never seen you before. What do you mean? I barely know your name. I don't even know your name. Now listen to this. Moshe Rabbeinu says Moshe Rabbeinu never died. That means we have no concept. We don't know where Moshe Rabbeinu is. You know why? Because Moshe Rabbeinu saw the Holy Land for the first time. And if you taste that, you can't die anymore. You may not be in this world. Because the world doesn't have vessels for it yet. Everybody knows Moshe Rabbeinu is sitting there by the borders of Israel waiting to get in. Because the land which Moshe Rabbeinu saw, we haven't even seen yet. And you see something for the first time doesn't mean I've never seen this wall. Mamish for the first time. Mamish, I don't even know what a house is. I've never seen a tree. We don't know what the first is. We don't know what Aleph is. I want you to know the world was created with the base. Second. Moshe Rabbeinu begins the Torah with a knife. Moshe is Aleph. Aleph. First time. And I want you to know, my sweetest friends, Moshe Rabbeinu is telling us the Torah again. Vipi Atzman. You know what Moshe Rabbeinu is telling us? Can you imagine how much Moshe Rabbeinu knew the Torah if he has a Rebbe like God? You know what Moshe Rabbeinu is telling us? I want you to know I don't know anything yet. I don't know anything. Mamish, I'm standing before God and I'm begging God. Ato achiloiso, I don't know anything yet. I don't know anything. You know what the deepest prayer is? The deepest prayer in the world is, please, Rabbeinu Shem, I'd love that whatever happened to me in my life, I want it to happen for the first time. And you know, God forbid, if you leave this world and everything happened to you, but it was for the second time, you never really experienced life. It's tree of knowledge. Moshe Rabbeinu Mamish was on Mount Sinai. I mean, Moshe Rabbeinu knows everything which happens in the world from the creation till Mashiach is coming. There is no secret Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't know. Called Beis Nemanu. And he's still missing something. And he's begging God, please, let me see the Holy Land. Let me taste for one time what it is to see the land for the first time. And it says, "V'sa einecha," lift up your eyes. Moshe Rabbeinu is not short-sighted. What do it mean to lift up your eyes? It means Moshe Rabbeinu is God giving him different eyes. But I want you to know the whole thing of crying on Tisha B'Av. Crying has to do with eyes. The spies have to do with eyes. Everything has to do with eyes. Because seeing for the first time has to do with eyes. If my eyes are so clear and so holy, then each time I look at you, it's for the first time. It's the holiness of eyes. And you know the last words of the Torah is Le'enei Kol Yisrael. And basically, Le'enei Kol Yisrael Bereshis means that Moshe Rabbeinu gave over to Yidden, I give you eyes to see the Torah for the first time. To see each other for the first time. And you know what the greatest vessel is? Everybody knows Le'enei Kol Yisrael Bereshis is the initials of Keli. Kol Yisrael. Le'enei Kol Yisrael is Keli, right? The vessel is Bereshis, Kol Bereshis, beginning. The greatest vessel for everything in the world is just start all over again. And you know, again, friends, on Yom Kippur, I'm not really asking God, please God, let me know you like I've never seen you before. I'm just asking God for forgiveness. I have a long relationship with you. When I did everything wrong, forgive me. You know what I'm asking God on Tisha B'Av? Chadesh Yameinu Kekedem. Please, Rabbi Shlomo, make my life new like never before. I want to just be born. I never heard of God before. I never saw anybody before. I never saw anything before. And my sweetest friends, you know why some of us are so angry at God? Because we prayed so much and God never answered. But you know what the problem is? I always pray for the second time. Imagine if we could pray one time for the first time. What a prayer. And Moshe Rabbeinu says, "V'schanan el Hashem." Now listen to this. If I pray for the second time, God says you prayed 515 prayers. Means was 1, was 2, and 3, and 4. Right? You know what Moshe Rabbeinu says? After the whole thing was over, I prayed for the first time. And the prayer for the first time, this is Mashiach's prayer. Chizkiyahu says to Yeshai, thank you very much for your prophecy. I don't care. You tell me, God forbid, I have to die tomorrow. Thank you very much for your prophecy. But I'm a child of King David. And I learned from my Zayda that you don't stop praying. I don't know anything. There is no prophecy which can stop me praying. And you know, again, friends, we have a lot to ask and claim to God. God created me. God promised Abraham the land. I have all kinds of claims to God. This Shabbos is Matnas Chinam. I'm asking you, God. I don't deserve it. I have no right to ask you. But I'm just begging you. I'm just begging you. You know, friends, when I meet somebody for the first time, I have no claims. I want you to know what's the most beautiful thing in the world. You walk on the street and somebody you've never seen before is coming asking you a favor. You know how beautiful that is? Well, because it's the kind of Mashiach favor. For the first time, right? You know, friends, I want you to know something. When do people get divorced? The first time they talk to each other? The second time, right? When they talk to each other the second time, they're already, it's already an opening. It's already the second time. First time? Gewalt, right? Let me just share with you one Gewalt. I have to tell you those two things. I began saying that sometimes you live your whole life and suddenly you realize that the one thing you wanted the most you didn't have. I told some of you, once read in a short story, that this, I'm sure some of you heard me telling it, so just bear with me. It's a good story. That this lady and her husband, you know, they live together, they're married, they have children, they're grown up. You know, like, what can you do? So they live, and they are invited to a party, and she's sitting by the piano, and suddenly someone plays a little tune. And she listens to the tune. It's crazy. When she was 16 years old, she was in a summer camp, and there was this lifeguard who was a little pianist, and he was playing that melody. And she liked him so much. The saddest thing happened that summer, this lifeguard drowned. Now what can you do? She was only 16, you're 17, 18. Finally you get married, you have children. And when she listened to that melody, suddenly she realized that the person she loved most in the whole world was this lifeguard. Unbelievable. So then, after the party is over, she goes home with her husband. Her husband says, "What happened to you? You're not the same." Oh, she said, "No, nothing." That's one Moshe Rabbeinu story, right? Here, Moshe Rabbeinu, everything in the world. You know what he realized in the last minute? Remember, Rabbeinu Shlomo, when you told me you were bringing us to Israel? You never took me there. Just take me there one time. Just one time. You know, can you imagine? Two people love each other and they promise each other, "I'll take you one time. I'll take you somewhere, you know, to a Greek island." And then, the last minute they say to each other, "You know, you never kept your promise. Okay, I'll go there for 1 minute." Might be the deepest, right? Deepest depths. The second story I want to share with you is that the second story. Oh, it's a good story to remember. Do you know the Yita Kodesh, the Seer Lublin, greatest pupil, had no teeth in his mouth, just one tooth. They asked him, "What happened to you?" Because the Yiddish Kodesh was very strong. He was 6'4", and he was just physically a giant. And he was not sick. So he says, my whole life I was praying to God, let me have the feeling what Avraham Avinu felt when he realized for the first time that there was one God. One time in my life. Can you imagine what our father Abraham felt when for the first time he realized that there is one God? Gewalt, right? So he says, one time I was in the middle of praying Shemona Esrei, and I said, Baruch Atu Hashem, blessed is you, God. And God revealed to me what our father Abraham felt when he knew there was one God for the first time. And all my teeth fell out. It just was so awesome. It was so awesome. You know, friends, what our generation needs the most? To hear about God for the first time. Most of us have such crazy kind of ideas about God. A little bit pagan, a little bit holy, a little bit unholy, a little bit this, a little bit this. Such a gefilte fish in our heads, you know. You know, whatever we know about God, about Yiddishkeit, about the Torah, and one more thing, and here I want you to open your heart in the deepest way. Do you know who turns us off from God so much? People. Nachman says nothing turns you off from God like people. Because I once met this person who was a little bit religious, and he was this, and he was that. Right? So I'm angry at God because this person pretends he's a God person and he is not. This happens to all of us, right? Millions of times. This person who said he's good, and I saw him hitting his children. I said, okay, humanity is going to the dogs. I want you to know Moshe Rabbeinu, he was 120 years old. He had finished his business with the world. No more world. There was only one thing left between him and God. That's it. And Moshe Rabbeinu says, please, Rabbeinu Shalom, Master of the world, can I have just a minute with you, just you and me? Can you imagine if we could extract ourselves from everything? From everything we even know of God, what God told us? What people told us? You know what Moshe Rabbeinu says to God? Even what you told me, I don't want to know. I want to hear something new, right? Ato Chiloisa, just the beginning. I need more than that. And you know, friends, I just want to tell you again that this prayer is beyond being answered. It is answered and it will be answered. But the main thing is not the answering. It's just so deep that I can ask God that. Can you imagine between people, if I can love somebody so much and say to them, let's forget the whole world for 5 minutes. Let's meet each other for the first time. Gewalt. And here I want to share something, and this is mind-blowing. The Chassam Sofer brings a Torah from the Haflor. Moshe Rabbeinu was told that he will not enter the Holy Land after Miriam passed away. And the Haflor was the Rebbe of the Chassam Sofer, makes a whole account that exactly 515 prayers, that the 515th prayer was Tfilas Ne'ilah of Yom Kippur. That the last prayer of Yom Kippur of that year, God told him, don't pray anymore. And everybody knows that Tfilas Ne'ilah, the last prayer of Yom Kippur, was initiated by Moshe Rabbeinu. And listen to the steepest depths. Everybody's asking, the last prayer is called Ne'ilah, which means God is closing the gates. Why be negative and say after this prayer God is closing the gates? Call it last opening, right? They're still open. So this is Rav Hershel Rimenov. Rav Hershel Rimenov says the deepest Torah. Okay, all Yom Kippur, we're praying for the world, I'm praying for me, for my wife, my children. The last minute of Yom Kippur, I want to be alone with God. Just me alone with God. So he says Ne'ilah means not God is closing the gates in front of me. God takes me into a private room. Just me alone with God. Me alone with God. And this prayer was Chanan el Hashem. It's awesome. I mean, it's mind-blowing. It was Chanan el Hashem. Matnas Chena was the last prayer of Yom Kippur. Moshe Rabbeinu was praying before God. Just you and me. Gewalt. You know, friends, how special, friends, I want to bless you and me and all of us. If you can have one person in the world, one person where you can knock the doors behind the world, just you and them. How special if you're so close to God that you can say to God, please, just me and you 1 minute. How deep if you can stand by the holy wall and say, Rabbeinu, I know the holy temple is destroyed. Can you rebuild the holy temple just for 1 minute? Just for me? Just for my children? Can you imagine if you can open a page in the Torah and say, God, just this one page. And here I want you to open your heart in the deepest way. When people are very close to each other and they want to shut out the world, you know what they do? They close their eyes. Close their eyes, right? Listen to this deepest depths. When people kiss each other, automatically they close their eyes. You know what they really mean? When I kiss you, I say, please, let the second be just you and me. Just you and me. And here, I want you to open your heart in the most awesome way. I was learning it last time a little bit, but in a different way. Do you know there is one thing we kiss? Tzitzis. You know the 4 fringes on the 4 corners we kiss. Why? Now listen to this. Everybody knows that the tzitzis were given to us to fix a little bit the sin of the spies. The spies came back, Israel is no good. So God gave us the mitzvah of tzitzis without getting involved on the depths to fix it. And tzitzis comes from the word, mamish, to look. I don't want to get involved in it. You know what the Holy Land is all about? The Holy Land is that land where I can say to God, just you and me. The Holy Land is where one Jew says to the other, just you and me. Even just for 1 second. And you know tzitzis? I'm kissing the tzitzis because when I'm putting on tefillin, it doesn't have to be just me and the tefillin, just me and God. Tzitzis is just me and God. So I have to kiss the tzitzis. Do you know why you kiss the mezuzah? Because the mezuzah is, when I love somebody very much, I move into a house. It's just me and my wife and my children. It's basically a house. So when I put my hands on the mezuzah, I kiss the mezuzah. Close my eyes. Because this house is meant just for me and another person. For me and my children. Children need a house. Some people live in apartments. A house is something else. A house. I want to bless everyone with a house. Shabbos Yom Tov. Let's sing one more song. And Shai has brought out so much cake and food. Shai Mamash, it's so beautiful to be in your house, and I bless you. I think you should have a big mezuzah, and everything should be good for you. Friends, I just want to make a little break, eat a little bit, and after that, if you still have strength, I know Rabbi Levis wants to say some holy Torahs, and Yeshua Alon wants to say Yeshua, everyone wants to say some holy Torahs. tell you one thing. Last week I was in London, and it was just so special, and it's just even too long to tell you, with thousands of our non-Jewish brothers and sisters who got together to pray for Jerusalem. It was like after the Messiah had come. But besides everything else, there was one little Jew who came to see me, and this is my friend Levi. And he arrived this morning, Mamish, he packed up, he met me, and I said, listen, Levi, he lives in Spain, but I said, what are you going to go back to Spain? Crazy, come to the Holy Land? And yet he was Mamish ready to cross the Jordan. So I want you to give him all the blessings. He just arrived this morning, 4 o'clock. Levi, come here. I want you, everybody to know who you are. Give him the biggest hand in the world. Levi's Mamish my man. Okay, I adopted him 100%. And I want you to adopt him too. Okay, Mazel Tov, good job.